And we're live. Hi, everyone. Today we are talking about Trigun Stampede. I am joined by the Punchpede as as a
That's a
Vash
terrible.
Stampede Sonichu,
That's a terrible name. Sorry, Il.
and Alice Snow, our resident Trigun expert. Say hi, Alice.
Hi. I wouldn't call myself an expert. I would actually just say a occasional fan.
Yeah. So for me, what's interesting is I watched the old anime and I've read a few volumes of the original manga, and so I did not know this thing existed until you brought it to my attention, Alice. So tell us a bit about what is Trigun Stampede? What's it based on, and why does it exist?
Trigun Stampede is a oh, sorry, my cat's here. Is a reboot, reimagining of the original Trigun series of the manga. They have multiple, though it is like redone in some way. Like, you know how reboots are. They
Yeah.
retell the story and the lore in a different fashion. So that's what makes this one interesting, because it shows plenty. It like mixes the best parts, I believe,
Like
with
a
a
new
unique
perspective.
animation style.
Like kind of like a new perspective on it.
Yep.
And you were saying too, it's not based on the original manga, but it is based on the new manga. The
Trigun Maximum.
Trigun Maximum is not exactly new, though it's the
okay.
continuation of the original, because I forgot the name of the magazine, but the magazine that was running it kind of went
Was it
out of
Shonen?
business, which is why it got cut off. And so
Okay.
they changed the name to Trigun Maximum when someone else took up the comic for another magazine.
So even a different creator writing and drawing it from the original.
No, same
Okay.
creator.
Same creator.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let me kind of like give you guys my big impression. So the big thing that surprised me about Trigun Stampede is it's basically telling us the premise of Vash and Million Knives relationship right at the beginning, whereas in the 90s anime and the manga, he's mysterious. Like all we know about him is he's kind of like this goofy cowboy who's known for being a human typhoon. He's a pacifist, but he's also a very capable fighter when he needs to be. And I remember in the 90s anime, you kind of meet his brother at the very end, right? So Stampede seems to be like giving us this entire backstory right up front. So I guess what kind of struck me about it is the new version of Vash Stampede. You know, he still has that kind of like same goofy personality, hiding what a powerful warrior he is. But I was thinking, is it going to be like the same story, just slightly updated in the art style? It's a very different take on the character, right? Because it's basically letting us know right off the bat who his enemy is, and kind of like introducing the really serious relationship between these two. Opening scene. Alice, do you have thoughts on like how Stampede's different from the OG one? Do you feel like is it a respectful adaptation? Do you have a preference for one or the other?
I think it's far better than the original anime.
Okay.
Because I think I like it when they say like prologue stuff in the first few minutes, as long as they make it not too heavy, and they just show us. They don't really talk about what happened and what was done to the ship. They just show Ren evacuating the two boys and staying behind.
Gotcha. It's to the point, yeah. I wrote a tweet thread about this actually. So I mean, I enjoyed the first 3 episodes of Stampede. What kind of worked for me about OG1 is when he's mysterious, it's sort of like we in the audience want to know more about him. Like, wow, what is this guy's deal? What makes him tick, right? And so when you don't know that much about him, the thing that strikes you most about him is how goofy he is, yet how secretly powerful he is. And I saw a little bit of that in the first 3 episodes of Stampede. You know, we got hints of him like getting kicked around and kind of tripping and falling as he's fighting. But
And forgetting bullets.
yeah, yeah, and forgetting his bullets. Yeah, and the other thing that kind of struck me is the fights play out very, very different. So in the manga, the Nebraska family shows up looking for the bounty, and he has one kind of like main showdown with the Nebraska family. In Stampede, the Nebraska family are kind of used to underscore Vash's pacifism. After he beats them, he has to convince the villagers to give Yosef and his dad a break, right? And then when Yosef's dad wants revenge for losing his son, then he's trying to persuade him to give them a second chance. So both series are emphasizing Vash's pacifism. What's kind of strange to me is in the manga, it's more in the old school manga, it's more like it's a funny trait of Vash that he's a wanted man, yet he's also a pacifist. And in Stampede, it seems a bit more serious, right? Like we're seeing characters getting killed off right away.
Yeah, were these characters? Did they have a longer lifespan in the original one?
No, they it's said in the manga and the anime, the original one and the current one, that Vash has lived for over 100 years.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, not like literal lifespan, but I mean, do the characters survive longer into the manga and the anime? Because they killed off the kid pretty quick, didn't they? Spoilers.
Oh, you're talking about the
Yeah,
kid's
like the
not dead.
Frankenstein thing.
His arms were cut off, so
Oh,
he's
okay.
The other one is
he's basically permanently crippled.
I guess my last comment on the old one is it's so different. I actually don't know if it's going to be useful to do a side-by-side plot comparison because things just play out completely differently in the old one. Like the Nebraska family are just sort of like defeated, and then they're the villain of the week, and then he's off to his next adventure. Whereas in this, they're like the dad goes up against a million knives and to get revenge, right? So they almost like feel like 2 completely different stories to me. So I thought I might just flip through some screenshots from episode 1 and maybe this will kind of give us a chance maybe to talk. But now let's maybe concentrate a little bit more on Stampede itself and what it's doing. And I won't just compare it to the old one I'm more used to. So we open with Vash and Nye's spaceship approaching the planet, and Vash kind of like visits all of the I don't know some of the lore.
People.
Yeah, so it's like a planet. It's like a ship that's supposed to repopulate a planet, but it crash lands on a desert planet, and the only thing they have to keep them alive are the old, basically the plants that were present on the spaceship. So they're a highly valuable commodity. Nye is apparently behind the crash of the spaceship, and they lose sort of like an adopted mother, big sister figure, Reed.
Oh, she's basically, Vash even says it, that she's more of a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri plot, basically. But one thing that because I mentioned this before the show, but I've never actually seen the original Trigun. So I'm completely new to this.
We got to update him. We got to give you the software patch update.
Yeah, unlike Alice, who's I believe you've seen all of Vash Stampede, right, Alice? Like you've
Most
finished
of it,
the series?
yes.
Yeah, and Marm, who's at least seen the original.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen either of them, so I was completely new to this, and I wasn't entirely clear on what the heck a plant was to begin with. So I'm not sure if you're supposed to be confused or if you're already supposed to know. I looked it up on the on the Trigun wiki or
They are
whatever.
supposed to be generators for resources and power.
Yeah, there's some kind of interdimensional beings that just create like Deus Ex Machina, um,
No, they
water
they had
and
to be
plant
they had to
things.
be genetically engineered by humans in order to produce
Oh,
what was needed.
okay. So they're like some kind of genetic monstrosities that just create water and air or something.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Biological technology to create what is needed for life. Yeah. Go kind of like they're plants that function like actual biological plants, right?
Okay.
I'm
Well,
kind of interpreting them symbolically.
yeah, are they actually plants though? Like they're not real plants.
No,
They
I
just
think
call
the
them
name
plants.
plants came from like power plant.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like how we would call a power plant a plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just going to speak for myself on this one. I would recommend coming to Trigun Stampede after watching the original Trigun
After
or reading
watching
the
the
original.
original.
Yeah, because I found myself saying, "Oh, okay, I know what some of this stuff is," and having like that mental roadmap help me a bit to stitch some things together. The other big change is some of the characters are different. So Alice, you might know some of this. So we meet Myra Strife, who's now
Mira.
Mira Strife, who's
I
now a
believe
reporter.
it's Mira.
Will we ever get to see
Meryl.
Millie?
Meryl, actually. Meryl. That's
Oh
her
yeah,
name. Meryl Strife.
Meryl Strife. Okay. Will we ever get
not
to see
Meryl
Millie?
Streep. It's
Millie
definitely not
isn't
Meryl
going to
Streep.
appear until season 2.
No.
And season 2 probably won't come out until next year. Like after the finale of Beastars.
My 7-foot tall minigun toting waifu. No, bring her back.
Don't worry, you'll get to see her.
All
She
right.
actually gets name dropped in the last episode.
Nice. So for Punchy's benefit, Meryl and Millie are the kind of like two kind of like clowny but capable young ladies in the original one who were following Vash. And originally they were like insurance. They were insurance inspectors. So they were on behalf of an insurance company. They were following Vash to make reports on all the damage he was doing.
Okay.
So now it's Meryl and Roberto De Niro are newspaper reporters who are following Vash to try to get the scoop on his story.
I think the reporter thing actually makes more sense than the.
Oh God, no! I mean, keep going, but I'm going to disavow.
I think the reporter occupation is better for following around Vash because insurance just sounds like some sort of like they're not really just looking for him. They're like just looking at damages that he leaves behind, and that they don't really need to be following him.
The old one, yeah, the old two characters felt more like just a joke, right? They're just two goofballs who were kind of following him and observing his story. I did like Roberto De Niro. Do you know much about like obviously it's a gag on Robert De Niro. Alice, do you know much about like was there a strong reason for adding this character and kind of like replacing Millie with Roberto for this revamp?
Meryl.
Meryl's still here,
is supposed to be the
Millie's
older.
The one who's gone.
Millie is supposed to be younger than Meryl, I believe. Yeah. And Roberto, he's an original character that they added to be like the mentor to Meryl. Basically, they make him, he's the teacher that is supposed to be training her to keep track of things and to notice things.
I like the angle that he's a drunk, but he's a lot more courageous and kind of competent than he lets on. Like there are a couple points in the early episodes where, you know, he notices something the bad guys are up to, or he's got a cool head, you know, to get him and Meryl into undercover before the bombs drop, right? So that's pretty cool because it's sort of like he's a bit like Vash. They're both men.
He's like a veteran.
Yeah. Older.
He's like a
down.
veteran. He knows what to look for. He knows where to go. He knows how to keep out of sight. And he knows what to say to push people's buttons.
And not as much of an idiot as he appears at first glance.
Right.
One kind of interesting thing that stuck out to me about Stampede is Vash is known by the villagers for having helped them repair their plant previously. And the villagers also have this dilemma where this man has helped us, but this man also has a bounty on his head that we could maybe turn in to just buy a new plant for ourselves, right? So the fact that he's a good man, but a wanted man, puts him in these situations where, you know, people want the
tells
bounty.
you why it actually explains why the bounty is on him, but it also allows you to figure out makes you theorize multiple reasons why he has the bounty on his head, especially when you learn what he is.
Because at this point, by the end of episode 3, we know that he's crash landed on Earth. I think they've mentioned that the crash landing happened a long time ago. So it's kind of like an inference thing. If you can make the inference that, oh, okay, that means he's been around for, you know, 100 years, right? Enough time for civilization to rise up around him. And you might be able to pick that up from his argument with Million Knives, where Million Knives kind of like makes fun of him for acting like he's still an idiot and one of these people. So the implication is, oh, that means he
acts human.
Yeah, he's something older than most of the normal people we interact with. What's his name? The bomber, E.G. the bomber.
E.G. the mime.
E.G. the mime. Okay. I think I recognize this character from OG.
Yeah, they actually remodeled him. He was I believe he was one of the Gunho Guns. I really can't remember the entire list of them, so I might be wrong. But he's, as you notice in that episode, Vash tries to reason with him, but he doesn't care because he wants to kill everyone.
Yeah. I like that angle. So if Vash's key trait is he's a pacifist, he had a chance to kind of like show pacifism to the Nebraska family because they're bad guys, but they can be reasoned with. They're not irredeemably evil. The bomber is sort of what's the worst bad guy that a pacifist can fight? Somebody who likes killing people.
Absolutely insane murder.
Yeah. And we saw,
and the fact that he has tiny bombs that literally latch on to everyone, which is putting a lot of pressure on Vash.
Yeah. There's a great moment where he puts his hand through the cage, and you can sort of see in his eyes that he doesn't want to shoot this guy, even though he's confronted with how evil he is, right? So Vash's problem is if he's letting these guys live, they'll go on killing. So if his goal is to protect life, does his pacifism get in the way of him actually protecting life when there are people like the bomber running around?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe someone said something about that. I forgot who they were, but they said that the reason why disaster always follows him is because he isn't capable of taking a life. He tries to save everyone. And thus that leads to more destruction.
Do you remember the pregnant mom's name? Not their mom. Yeah, this lady.
Rosa.
Rosa. Okay. So I think it might have been Rosa. Yeah. Because initially she's very, grateful and, overjoyed to see Vash. The people of this town owe him their life. after she loses her child, and it's kind of like a moment of grief for everybody. She's angry at Vash and lashes out at him. So it's clearly like this idea where even though he is well intentioned, the fact that trouble follows him, basically, the fact that his brother is after him and his brother is willing to strike out at innocent people to get to him. Rosa blames him for that, and it's sort of underscoring his big problem. He as long as he's not willing to kill anybody, people like his brother are going to keep running around destroying innocent life, right?
Uh-huh.
And I don't remember much about Rosa in the original manga. I remember, I remember him facing off with the ladies and the guns, right? So that element was present in the old version. But it seems like she's a bit more developed character in Trigun Stampede than she has been previously.
You'll notice a lot of that. A lot of the side characters do get a lot of development. And they do it in a very tasteful way. That to the point where it doesn't get annoying.
Was that an issue with the original one then? Were there like a lot of annoying side
The
characters?
original was like a Monster of the Week fight.
Okay.
And also, I think the original is a lot more comedy centric. Like I think even Looney Tunes is the name of one of the early chapters. He's emphasizing Vash as a comedic cowboy, and then the sort of the sad, serious subplot came in later. I mentioned this, but this one is kind of like hitting us with the serious problem right off the bat. So after they basically like beat up the bomber, he runs off like a psycho to see Million Knives, who I guess he kind of like has a crush on him, right? Because he's crazy. And
No,
Million Knives,
Million Knives is basically his boss.
Yeah, and he
I
seems
think
to
the
have a
reason
thing for
why
chopping
Million
off
cut
arms.
off his
Yeah,
hands. I think the reason why Million's cut off his hands is because he nearly took out the target that Million Knives wanted, Vash. That's what I think.
Yeah, he still has like this weird, perverse brother. Like Vash is still his brother, even though he's Million's willing to like kill people. It seems like he's trying to like bait Vash into becoming as violent as him, right? Like, why aren't you willing to kill? Why don't you kill me, right?
Mm-hmm. Actually, he doesn't understand Vash's love for humanity. Million Knives thinks that the plants are the more developed species, so he wants to basically. His brother is genocidal. Million Knives is genocidal, and it's after the very species that raised him and Vash.
So just so I understand, Vash and Million are both plants themselves, right?
Yeah, they're twins.
Is that something that we're supposed to know at this point? Because I don't remember them really getting into it. I read it on the Trigun wiki that they were both plants, but is that something that they reveal as they go along, or
yeah,
what? Okay, so
because they slowly revealed that Vash has been alive for a long time, that he has a lot of memories of places that were destroyed previously.
Okay.
And there are even people who have met him back then as children, only to see him now as adults.
I'm trying to imagine this from Punchy's perspective, right?
Yeah, again, I have no idea what's going on. I just kind of jumped into it. I'm like, plants? What are they talking about? Who are all these people? The only thing I recognized was Vash the Stampede, and that's only because I've been around enough anime fans to know what he looks like. I'm like, oh yeah, it's that guy. It's the guy with the guns and the trench coat. But I didn't even know he was supposed to be goofy. To tell you the truth, I was a little taken aback by it. I thought he was supposed to be like cool cowboy guy, not
Yeah.
goofball, ridiculous, almost annoying.
And even in the
Annoyingly
second
goofy.
episode, they actually bring up something that he's well known for, and that's his bizarre fascination with donuts.
Mm. Yeah, so all that stuff, like that kind of stuff was also present in the original, though, right?
Probably even stronger. Like he's even goofier.
Really?
In the
Okay.
original. Yeah. For once, the anti-SJW YouTubers can't say, "Oh no, they made the hero goofy in the revision." No, he was always goofy. That is the most faithful part about this. Is Badger being goofy.
Yeah, this is completely not what I was
The most faithful parts are his red jacket, his hair, and the fact that he is not human, as well as his goofy personality that he shows to help people be calm and not like be scared of him.
I actually like his look. It
you
passes
like
the
Zoomer
test.
haircut.
Yeah,
you're good with Zoomer haircut. Haircut bash.
Well, that's because this is a prequel to what happens in the next season. In the next season, they say he's going to have his hair up again, but this is like his hair is like a representation of how naive he is.
Okay, so it's a revamp of Trigun, but it's also a prequel to the events of what would have happened in Trigun. So when we get to season 2, it'll kind of line up more with the events of original Trigun, but also will probably be
it'll line up with Maximum.
There we go. Okay. So I should basically delete my knowledge of original Trigun, right?
No, you could still use it. I mean, some parts of Maximum were used in the original, but it was only like the first couple of chapters of Maximum.
Is there some kind of a canonicity crisis going on? I guess that would be a question for you guys. Like, have they decided that the original Trigun is no longer canon, or what?
The anime is its own thing.
Okay.
So because of the tendency for the anime to add filler episodes and its own stuff, right?
Yes, 60% filler.
Yeah.
Is the original manga still considered canon to Maximum and this series?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
And now as far as like
but
the
Maximum starts after a 2-year time skip. Season 2 is going to start from at the 2-year time skip that marks the start of Maximum.
So that would have been after the original Trigun had ended. Like the original Trigun ends, and then 2 years after is when the Maximum stuff starts going on. Okay.
Yeah, but they added a few of the Maximum things in this one too. Like it's a retelling from a different point of view. And basically, they use some of the later characters earlier than what they were originally used for.
All right, I think I got it.
Yeah, I still don't get it, but well, like for example, this whole the whole thing begins with this Alpha Centauri setup, right? Were they originally going to land on the planet, or was this an uninhabited planet and all the humans are like descendants of survivors, or what was going on with that? Or is that something that's going to be revealed?
The planet is known as Gunsmoke, or No Man's Land.
Goes along. Okay.
It's a desert planet that originally had like these weird insect-like creatures called worms, like what you saw them in the first episode.
Sandworms. Yeah. Big graboids.
Aside from that, this place was pretty much a desert. No water, no anything. That's why people had to survive off the plants, and this planet was not their destination.
Okay, so they're all survivors of the spaceship that exploded then, basically, and they're trapped on this desert planet. And it's like 100 years afterwards, which is why they've started building cities.
150.
150. Okay.
And I didn't get Million Knives plan. His plan was to blow up the spacecraft and crash land them on Gunsmoke.
No, his
Yeah.
he altered the oh sorry, I'm tongue tied. He altered the navigational that way that all the ships, except for the one holding the plant generators, would explode and basically kill everyone on board.
Okay.
But his plan will arrive when his adopted mother was able to, like, stop some of
She
that.
foiled
So
it.
some of the ships did survive, but they can't do space travel anymore.
Okay. So is that
Basically, she
all...
threw a monkey wrench into his plan. He wanted to kill all humans before they ever landed on that place.
Yeah,
on
is that all
Gunsmoke.
going to be revealed as time goes on, or is this like backstory that we're already supposed to know?
It's backstory.
Just backstory that you get from other sources. Okay.
Do you think it would have helped us to have read Trigun Maximum before Trigun Stampede?
I think Trigun Maximum, I think you should read it before season 2.
Okay.
Okay.
So you got plenty of time there.
Okay.
Because I think they're going to put most of the Trigun Maximum stuff in season 2.
I guess something I miss about I guess you called it the Monster of the Week vibe of the old show is it's kind of like the world building is less important than the character himself in original Trigun, like because it's just like he fights a goofy family, he fights a goofy, crazy person. The impression you get of Vash over time is like you get a real clear understanding of his pacifism, and you get a real good sense of, I guess, his joy that's masking his sadness, all the clowny good humored behavior he gets up to. It's hiding a sadness and a regret that he's got buried inside him. I did see a lot of that in how Vash is portrayed in Trigun Stampede. Like he has a mission that he's got to fulfill, and he's sort of like he's carrying that with him as a burden. I was kind of like struck by like, whoa, I've got a lot of world building I've got to pay attention to and catch up with. So I felt like I got it based on what I remembered of OG Trigun, but I
think it's because the writer of the original of the manga, both Maximum and the previous one, wanted to explore more of the world this time around.
Okay, so they build him up. They build up Vash quicker so that you can get to the world exploration. Or okay, yeah, because that's
sort of like a middle ground between the two.
Yeah, I mean
His characters
idea...
are still something, but there's a lot of stuff in the background that you could. I literally found during my second watch of the first, second, third episode, I was always finding stuff in the background that usually told you about like stuff that was happening in their world.
You mean like details of the ship and how that connects to how the plants are being used by the current society?
Okay.
Very cool.
I forgot. I think they also had a few wanted posters of some villains that are supposed to show up later, too.
Oh, nice.
A little bit of
Hints
foreshadowing.
Yep.
Yeah, well, because one of the things that I was thinking of, while I was going through it, I mean, it does seem like the kind of character that Marmaduke's explaining. The idea that he's this sad clown, because he'd kind of go from really goofy to almost emo, in the space of a few minutes, and it was kind of bouncing around like that. So from what I'm understanding from the two of you, that sad clown thing was present in the original Trigun. It's just the original Trigun um, dwelled on the clown for much longer and only brought in the kind of emo side of Vash as you got further and further into the show. Is that
I think
is
I
that
think that's close. I think the monster of the week element of the old show, it let you see him be competent more frequently. Like he would do something cool, to defeat the monster every
okay?
week, right?
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
mean he does seem competent. I mean he
yeah.
seems like he's a very goofy character that just suddenly goes into Bugs Bunny mode and winds up winning just out of the blue, and then he goes back being really goofy.
I
um,
might be out of ammo. Ah,
I interpret it as it's kind of like the comedy side of the character is relating to the pacifist side
okay.
of the character. He's a pacifist and he's a warrior. He's a clown and he's deep, right? There's this man with this hidden problem that he's grappling within himself, and he's also, because of like this sort of like godlike aspect to him, where he's like a creature above an ordinary human. He's literally the one who's in a position to take out a million's knives, who can do an over the top anime, million knife attack, right? Right?
Oh, is that like he literally uses a million knives? Is that the
did you not see the end of the last episode?
Yeah,
Million
episode
Knives
3. That was like the
Tentacles?
giant mountain slicer thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that was like actual I wasn't even sure what was going on because I saw he kept
Tentacles
playing
made of
piano.
knives.
Yeah, because he kept playing piano, so I thought it was some kind of like music attack he was doing, like some kind of like a sound
No,
attack.
the
Or...
reason why he plays piano is because on the ship, he and Vash actually used to play the piano together. That's why
okay, so
Vash
that's
basically looks absolutely terrified when he hears the piano playing.
okay. But he's not actually using the piano as a weapon. He literally has a million knives. Then is
Yep, tentacles made of
okay.
knives.
I feel like we should watch some old Trigun just to help
Yeah,
Punchy
maybe.
catch up with us.
Yeah, maybe I should just go back and watch the original Trigun for this because.
I guess my closing thought is I am really interested to see what they do in Stampede. Like I'm interested in it because it's like by revamping the character, it's making me think about the original version of the character and how different it is. And I guess my criticism of old Trigun is you get into the flow of it, you just enjoy it for what it is, and then it kind of drops a lot of lore on you right in the last few episodes. And then he beats the bad guy, and you think, oh, well, yeah, he beat the bad guy. The day is saved, and you just kind of like realize, oh, wait a second, he was like an angel thing the whole time, right? So it's sort of like this series is taking the crazy lore of the original series, and kind of like Alice said, trying to develop that and bring that to the front, whereas the old one isn't as worried about that. It's more worried about the character himself and his goofy adventures. So I was kind of struck by I can't call it tonal whiplash, because tonal whiplash is when the same series is going back and forth, too harsh. Maybe it's more like tonal contrast. Stampede feels like it wants to present the same character, but in a more serious light.
Yeah, but at least they still keep his core values.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Punchy, as like the guy who wasn't a Trigun fan before watching Stampede, how lost were you?
I wasn't. I think I know what the name of the anime was. I think it was called Trigun Stampede, and that was. I mean, I wasn't. I think I mostly got it. I mean, one of the things that was going through my head actually while I was watching this was Akira. And I don't know, because Alice has seen Akira with me, and Marm. I mean, you've seen Akira, right?
I still haven't. I
Or
bought
have
it.
you?
I bought the
Yeah.
Blu-ray so I can
Okay.
finally watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say because I think we might have been over that in like some previous episode or something.
But like
Um,
Kaneda and his friend have that kind of like bros, but they're at each other's throats vibe,
oh,
right?
yeah. Well, I wasn't really necessarily making that. I think Vash and Million are a lot more dysfunctional than than Canada and Tetsuo, at least to begin with. But one of the things about Akira, especially if you watch the original dub. Um, oh, and Marm, if you've got the Blu-ray or whatever, the DVD, if you can watch the original dub version rather than the new dub version, I would recommend that.
That's
Um,
they advertised it that way. Yeah, that was like a big deal
it's
for the
got yeah.
re-release, is they wanted people wanted the original dub available. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like the original American VCR dub. Um, not to get too sidetracked, but they're actually both pretty good. The new dub and the old dub, and you often find that people prefer the first dub they see. Um, if you go and like check Reddit or whatever, it's usually people are arguing for the first dub that they ever see. Um,
Ghibli had that problem. They had Fox dubbed a few of the
yeah,
Ghibli movies before Disney picked up the rights. Yeah.
yeah. The thing, well,
Do you
with
want to know something very interesting? The
yeah.
same the same person that plays Vash in this is the
Hmm.
same one that played Vash in the original.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think for Akira they got all new guys, but yeah, just real quick, like the main difference between the new dub and the old dub is, well, the new dub is more accurate to the Japanese, like it's a more accurate translation, and it helps clear up some of the more confusing elements that come in the original dub. The original dub I do actually prefer on an objective level, because the original dub is more emotive, and the characters, it's better acted, and you really get like the emotional sense of the characters, from the original dub that you don't get from the new dub. Like the new dub is a little bit flat, so it's a choice between like confusing but excellent acting, versus, a superior translation with kind of crappy, you know, new school acting. Um, but with Akira, and to bring this back to Trigun, because the first time that you watch the original dub of Akira, especially, and to a lesser degree the new dub of Akira, it's quite confusing. You spend like half the time, not knowing what the heck is going on, and then by the end you kind of know even less about what's going on, um until you start going and digging through like the manga, and blog posts and stuff, and researching it, and then it starts making a bit more sense. But um while watching through Akira for the first time, there is very much this almost like an esoteric unfolding, uh, as you're going through, and you don't know what's going on,
So
and
from
you're
feeling lost in
piecing it together.
translation, you feel lost in translation, but you also feel like you sort of get it, even though
Yeah,
something's lost in
yeah, very
translation.
much. Like you feel lost, but it's slowly revealing itself to you, and that was kind of, that was my impression of Trigun, and I thought that maybe it was intentional, right? Like I wasn't supposed to really understand what the heck was going on, and maybe if I just stuck with it for a couple episodes, it would make more sense. And then it didn't really start clarifying things, so I'm like, okay, maybe this is just like Akira stretched out to like 10 episodes. um but yeah, I don't really know. It seemed okay. it definitely wasn't what I was expecting, particularly with the character of Vash. Because again, I only knew him as kind of like a poster character and fan art character, and people like, oh yeah, he's this cowboy dude with a gun. So I
He was
figured
kind of one. He was kind of one of the cool anime dudes for a
yeah,
while in the '90s. Yeah,
he was was it yeah, it was either like the late 90s or early 2000s or something.
yeah.
He was very popular, especially online. Very very iconic. But I guess I'd always just assumed that he was like the cool cowboy guy, rather than like Bugs Bunny in a trench coat. But
Trust me,
yeah.
that stuck out to me too when I finally went to find out who the Trigun guy was.
Okay, so that's not just me. Yeah, and because I've seen some people, because even in chat, we've got a I hate Zoomer haircut Vash. Do they just hate him because of the dumb haircut then? Because
Yes.
if this is a similar character to before, it's not like they've rewritten him to be more Zoomer
It's
sensible or anything.
it's similar. Okay, he has a similar soul and personality. I
Okay.
just think I never had the plot interpretation problem with OG Trigun.
Mhm.
So all of the like what is going like that whole disconnect of what is going on. I even had like that weird feeling where I know who his brother is, but I feel like I'm getting a lot of info dump, right?
Mhm.
Uh, like OG Vash he's so simple. It's more like Goku or maybe
Yeah,
Monkey D. Luffy, where he just has this exuberant goodness and simplicity to him that just shines out, right? So you
yeah.
don't,
I was thinking Goku too. I mean,
yeah,
he's a classic. He's a bit more violent and cool than Vash does. Like Vash seems a little bit too childish, but I get where you're coming with that.
yeah,
They're both like goofball heroes.
yeah.
Um, yeah, well, and one other thing I was thinking, I wasn't in a particular hurry to figure out what was going on either. Like for instance, with the beginning with this Alpha Centauri setup, where it was kids on a spaceship and the spaceship's blowing up. Um, the original Alpha Centauri, you never actually find out how the spaceship blows up. It's a video game with a very similar plot setup, but you never actually find out why the spaceship blows up, and that's okay. Um, so Vash is more like Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Goofy
Um,
personality hiding the serious man. Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Thank you, loaves of bread. Yeah. What? Okay, wait. What is Alpha Centauri? Because I don't catch that reference.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Alpha Centauri is an old '90s PC game. It's have you ever seen Sid Meier's Civilization?
Yes.
That game. Alpha Centauri it's kind of like the sequel to Civilization. It's what happens after the end of the Civilization games. Like they keep remaking the Civilization games. I think they're on like 6 or 7 right now. But every Civilization game has a bunch of different ending criterion that you can get, and one of the main endings of the Civilization game is piling people onto a spaceship and sending them out to start colonizing another planet, right? um and Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri was a take on that. It was like, well, what happens when that spaceship arrives at the planet? And the spaceship actually winds up getting sabotaged somehow, and it starts blowing up. But a bunch of humans get to the escape pods, and they go and they crash land onto this desert planet where there's no human beings, and there's these weird worm monsters everywhere. And you take on the role of like an early colonial leader, and you've got to build up human society from the wreckage of the crashed
Resource
spaceship.
management. Yeah.
Yeah, resource management and building cities and going around and doing all this stuff. And it's actually a really interesting game. from like a philosophical standpoint, because all of the characters in the game, all of like the factions that you get to play as, they're not like nationalities or anything, which is how you get it in most Civ type games, or like species or anything. Instead, all the factions are based around like political philosophies and ideas. Like there's a communist society, and there's this radical capitalist society,
Yeah.
and like an eco hippie society. So you get all these different humans who crash land and do all these things. But it's this setup for it's not really a post-apocalyptic kind of story, but it's functions somewhat similarly to a post-apocalyptic story, right? It's a high-tech human society that's nevertheless become very fragmented and disjointed, and just mere survival becomes one of the driving elements of it, and people going crazy and hurting each other and doing like Lords of the Fly kind of things. But yeah, that was kind of how I was reading the opening to it, and maybe a bit of Borderlands too. Particularly with the art style, because I think this was something we were discussing before the start, but this is entirely CGI, right?
Yes, the Stampede is, yeah. OG is good old 90s painted
hand drawn,
cells, yeah.
Yeah. Pre AI, human made.
Loaves of Bread, but speaking of robots, by the way, Loaves of Bread says, my biggest gripe is setting it earlier, but including Meryl. Second is the design of his arm, which that just clicked for me. Yeah, like the Zoomer Vash the Stampede very obviously has a robotic left arm. OG design. He's got like you could believe that it's just his part of his costume, right? Like he's got some weird leather glove over his left arm, but you could think that it's just an arm and he's wearing like an odd costume, full arm length glove over it, until you get the reveal that he's lost his arm. Yeah. So another again, another hidden thing about the old character that's very obvious about the new character. You can't miss it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't really pick up on. I guess I just assumed his arm was already a robot.
Yeah.
Although to be honest, again, having not seen the original Trigun, I guess I didn't really think too much of it.
So
but yeah,
we've clearly got to assign you some original Trigun as homework for the next podcast. I wouldn't mind that either. Maybe it'd be fun to watch the old one. Okay, like old versus new, right? We'll talk about some of the old stuff. We'll talk about some of the new stuff. Yeah.
I mean, maybe what I could do is finish up the new one and then go back to the old. So do it in reverse from the way most people do it.
We'll hit you with all the lore first. This will be like when my anime club introduced me to Excel Saga as one of my first anime as a joke, because half of Excel Saga is referencing other anime, so I'd be as lost as possible. We're gonna throw you in the deep end of the kiddie pool.
Yeah, I just know Excel Saga from Sonichu, so
that's right. Yeah, it does get referenced by that. All right. Okay, Alice, you've seen all of Trigun Stampede. I guess maybe without spoiling like the whole thing for everybody, what's the appeal of Trigun Stampede? What's making it work for you?
And the more serious storytelling, and the fact that it feels like they're actually putting in more of the original, not filler.
So less filler that the 90s anime had. Yeah. How do you think
more
it compares
character
to
development?
Okay. All right. Well, I do like the character of Vash the Stampede enough that I do want to continue with it. Zoomer Stasi isn't digging Trigun Stampede so far. I'm kind of withholding withholding judgment. I was a little worried, right, because of how like all of the new information I had to digest right away. But I am interested. I think Vash is a strong character, and I want to see how Stampede handles him. So I have high hopes.
Is that Martin meowing in the background?
That's not you guys's. That's mine.
Oh, okay, that's yours.
Yeah.
All right, because I keep hearing meowing in the background.
This is Luna, and Cuddles, rest in peace. He's gone to heaven, but Luna's a very vocal, and I don't know. She's kind of got the personality of being a smart aleck. Like she will just come and sit and mew at me, and she's very territorial. So.
Is she named after the Sailor Moon character then, or
no? None of the weebs named her. My sister named her because she just showed up on the farm, I guess, like out of the blue moon or something or whatever, or they just thought it was a cute name for a girl cat. So
yeah, I was gonna say that would be pretty dorky if it was if it was an anime reference, but yeah,
I'm the only weeb in my clan. I'm pretty sure, unless some of the Marmaduke sisters are stealth weebs and they've never told me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I had a chance to kind of like give all my observations on episodes 1 to 3, and I've been nostalgic and nerdy enough about the OG series for a while. So I guess I kind of want to give you guys a chance for just your overall thoughts on episodes 1 to 3, and I think I'll be about. I think I'm about at the limit of what I have to say about them.
Me, it worked. Yeah. Okay, what did you say?
No, I was just...
your overall thoughts, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I enjoyed the new serious take because storytelling for jokes only doesn't really do it for me.
Okay.
There has to be something more to it to pique my interest.
Okay. Now you did enjoy Did you enjoy the original Trigun before you came to Trigun Stampede?
I enjoyed it, but it seemed more like a comedy thing, so it didn't really get me.
So it didn't click in the way that this one is.
No.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, for me, again, since I haven't seen the original, I can't compare it to the original. I'm not going to say I hate it. It seems okay. I was a little bit annoyed by how goofy and clowny Vash was. And then when he stopped being goofy and clowny, when he started getting, more emotionally resonant, I got even more annoyed with him, I guess, just because he seemed very emo to me, very, very childish. I can see why
I think that's one of the main points of Vash.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why that might be. Why that might make him a memorable character, let's say. So I'm willing to give it, more of a shot. I mean, I've gone through, what is it, like 15 different episodes of 20 episodes of My Hero Academia right now. So, I could probably soldier on through a few more of this one. The animation was a little bit janky for me. I know a lot of series are doing that CGI thing now. The CGI anime hybrid. I'm not.
I thought they looked okay. I thought they looked okay in some scenes and jankety in others. There would be a scene where someone would emote really well, and I just think, the senior animator worked on that one. And then there are others where they don't do anything. Maybe it's like the frame rate or something. Like they kind of like move at a 24 or like a 12 frame rate or something. So it's got the problems that I have with a lot of CGI anime, but at least they're putting some effort. Like I don't like much CGI anime, but I can tell they're at least putting some effort into trying to make the CGI look good.
Yeah, and I mean, like even this scene you've got up there, right? You know, it's a lot more cinematic. Like the framing and the shot composition is interesting. It's not just, you know, hey, we're gonna slap together some stuff and you know, hope for the best. But yeah, and because we were going over that with AI too, weren't we?
Yeah,
Like on
if you
like on
rely
Twitter
on
for a while.
AI becomes you generate images with it, but that's not the same as thinking compositionally. So I
Yeah,
had a
and
tweet I had a tweet where I argued that one of the problems with CGI anime is you start thinking of the character models as a limit, whereas in 2D drawing, you just draw the character however you need to draw them for the scene. So you have a little bit more. I guess like 2D drawing encourages flexibility, and 3D animation encourages sticking with your assets, basically.
Hmm. Yeah, well, that's actually because I keep cycling back to that idea of you know, AI rotoscoping that's starting to get big. Um, and you know, with AI slapping something like that together with CGI, I think that there would be a lot more potential for interesting stuff, like with having variably
Well, the
sized
reason why they chose
characters.
CGI is because
Mhm.
there are things that you can do with it that you can't do with 2D.
Hmm.
Maybe like the giant space stations. Yeah, complicated mechan.
Yeah,
Can
well, I mean, you probably could do it, but it would be cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to make another Akira, right? You know, that level of detail and fluidity of the animation. You're either going to do it in CGI or you're not going to have it at all. Um, but yeah, that's one of those areas that I think that AI will really improve the overall output. And I know you, Marm, are a bit more skeptical
It's
of.
I feel like it's the same as any kind of like advance in technology. Anytime you advance technology, the technology opens up opportunities, but the
Mm,
technology also cuts out the skill that people developed working
yeah,
in the old
it can
format,
get you
right?
lazy.
Yeah. So people have to like rediscover how to do it again with the new technology. And
Mhm.
yeah, like I'm not against cutting corners, and like all animation involves cutting corners and using your budget effectively to some degree. I guess like if Berserk 2016 is the lowest of the low of CGI anime, this
What
this is at least this is at least aspiring to be something better than Berserk
what
2016.
what was that like? Was that because I've been
Well,
seeing a lot of people complaining
well,
about
that's the
that.
meme where it's like someone just clicked on a picture of Berserk of Guts and then just bobbed him up and down crazily, and then they played that alongside the actual anime, and that's clearly what they did.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I've never seen Berserk 2016.
Okay.
I might skip it then, but
Painful. Yeah, no, sad. All right. So I guess my closing thought on the first 3 episodes of Trigun Stampede is I would definitely recommend watching or reading the original first, so you have a sense of the character going in. That's my bias. I have a sense of the character, and kind of going off what Punchy said about like not being sure what this character's deal is. Like it's a really subtle, like fine line, because he has a pretty bad weakness. And I think the original character kind of like walked that line pretty well, where it felt like the entire story is about addressing this weakness, so it feels appropriate to the story.
so his weakness is his pacifism, right?
Yeah,
That's the conceit. Okay.
I saw
It's his
people.
greatest strength, but also his greatest weakness.
Yeah, he's like Steven Universe, but anime.
Yes, yes. Oh my God, that was exactly what I was thinking when I was watching it. I forgot to bring that up, but while I was watching it, like the end of the first episode, I was like, this is kind of like if Steven Universe wasn't a fat soy boy. Um,
What?
Nothing.
Okay, so because Steven Universe also has like this, he has this desire to forgive and talk with everybody, but
Yeah.
then is that good if you're
Yes,
if you're
but
facing
if
against?
you've watched but if you read the original Trigun, or at least you read the original first few chapters, and then you start Maximum, you'll see that eventually Vash will have to struggle with making that decision.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest plot points where he has to learn when to do something and when not to do something.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's very Batman-like too. You know, if you're gonna compare him to like Bruce Wayne and Batman, because Batman, I mean Batman beats the crap out of people, but you know he's still very pacifistic in the sense that he won't take a life, and he won't kill the bad guy. Um, you know, he'll kind of let you get away, and then you know the villain will come back to blow up more people.
I really want to do the Jordan Peterson A thing on OG Trigun now, because it's kind of like it. Yeah, if Batman's problem is why doesn't he kill the Joker?
Yeah.
And the more the Joker kills people, the more of a story of a plot hole problem that comes. And OG Trigun really beautifully deals with that problem as a narrative theme rather than just kind of like brushing it, like it doesn't brush it under the rug and pretend it's not a problem, right? So,
yeah,
that's what I'm hoping for Trigun Stampede, is we're going to get that kind of like sophisticated look at the pacifism versus violence problem. So, all right. Well, those are all my thoughts. So, what do you guys want to talk about next time? Should we just continue, because we kind of like alluded to this earlier? Should we just focus on Trigun Stampede for now, and then we'll see how, or do we want to juggle in a little of the old stuff and a little of the new stuff? What would you guys' preference be?
I think it would be good to juggle some of the new with well, it would be mostly the new with the old.
Okay.
So we would mostly focus on the new.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. And then give Punchy a few hints of what the old stuff is, rather than just have me talk about it and be, remember that show in the 90s? No, he doesn't. Yeah,
God, it was so great. No, I don't remember it at all, unfortunately. I remember that picture I saw on DeviantArt of it back in the 90s, but that's about it.
You know what I miss is cheap anime DVDs. That's what got me into Trigun, was they came out with the complete series for like $15, right? Like, how could I resist?
Yeah, actually, well, I've never got any of those, but when I was in the army, I wound up buying like 8 or 9 50 kung fu movies for $5 style DVDs. So that was really fun. If they had anime versions of that, I would have scooped that up.
Oh, kids these days, they're not going to know the amazing bargain bin DVD finds.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that you could find it all on Pirate Bay, but actually, do Zoomers even know about piracy? Is that even a thing with Zoomers?
I've seen some good piracy memes popping up.
Okay, that's good. Well, and plus, I mean, a lot of them, you know, the best ones, the best groups were all Russian too. So,
well, I mean, the thing about piracy is their whole, like, there are tons of anime you just cannot watch at all without piracy. Like, you want to watch anything from the 70s? Sorry, no official release for most of it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
I want to hear your theories. I want to hear your theories on stuff.
Oh, sure, go for it.
After seeing these first 3 episodes, what are your theories on the characters, and how far do you think the story may go?
How about we do Punchy first, since he's the new, and then me second.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea. Well, one of the things, because I didn't realize that Robert De Niro was a brand new character. You know, or that Meryl Streep was originally what did you say? Yeah, not Meryl Streep. Sorry, Meryl Stripe. Quote.
Strife.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, what did you say she was? She was a
Originally an insurance
insurance. Yeah.
agent,
Okay.
now a reporter.
I actually kind of like that idea of her being an insurance agent more than more than being journo scum. Because following like a crazy hero around who gets into all kinds of hijinks and um, to get like insurance quote estimates and do like accident reports or something like that. That just seems more interesting, quirkier and more fun. But yeah, I don't know. I guess he's gonna go around this Wild West place, and he's gonna fight villains, and eventually he's gonna have a showdown with his brother. I mean, I don't really know where
I
it's
mean, I
going.
am expecting, I am expecting the brother to be a bigger deal.
Yeah, I mean, from the way that you're describing it, it sounds like he might wind up coming into violent confrontation with his brother. I was going to say it might be neat if he kind of fluttershies his brother, and they all wind up just living happily together, and they all like each other in the end. Um, but yeah, from the way you and Alice are describing it, it sounds like the Fluttershy option isn't really going to be on the table.
I can't say.
Or is it?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Maybe that is.
Maybe he does Fluttershy. Yeah.
Maybe he does Fluttershy him. Okay.
Or maybe not.
I don't know. I do actually. I will say that I do actually kind of like this Knives Million guy, or Million Knives guy. The voice acting is a little annoying. He sounds a bit too much like a kid to me. But I could really see like some cool J-Rock thing, playing crazy J metal on his piano and slicing up people. So I do like him. And if they can Fluttershy him, that would be great. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of original stuff, and Knives is basically the big bad.
Okay, so
But
he's
there
like
are so
he's
many
like the
different
final boss, kind of.
characters and bad guys under him that they're all interesting in their own way
Mhm.
and having unique abilities.
What is Knives' motivation? Asks Flo. Okay, so I'm going to kind of like turn this question into my answer to Alice's question. So,
Okay.
I'm expecting something a lot tonally darker and more serious than what I'm used to with Trigun. And B, I'm expecting a lot more about Knives and Vash's relationship. Where in OG, he's just kind of like the final boss that Vash faces. And then we get the big info dump right at the very end. I'm expecting a lot more of the world building kind of stuff. And I'm expecting to kind of like even like in his dialogue with Vash, Knives was kind of teasing him for holding back. So I'm expecting to see maybe like more of Knives, I don't know, reasoning for why he's a murder hobo. I'm
gonna give you a heads up. You find out in like around like episode 8. That's where that starts.
Okay.
That's when they start showing you the motivations for Vash and Knives' different opinions.
Yeah, didn't Knives wasn't he suggesting that Vash was also responsible for blowing up the spaceships or something?
You were my accomplice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were
that was
my
his strange
accomplice. Was that something that factored into the original one, or is this hints at a plot twist?
Well, the thing about Vash is that he was very naive back then, hopeful, and he loved helping people. So,
okay. So
his
he got like
brother
tricked into
essentially
helping someone?
tricked him into helping him.
All right. Well, I am interested to see more of Trigun Stampede. So we will probably arrange behind the scenes to talk about how many episodes we want to watch for next time. So good recommendation, Alice. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe Punchy will have fun with the lore dump. So you don't have to. Not everything has to make sense for it to be fun. It's the journey that matters, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I don't.
The thing is
don't
that the
strictly
reason why I
mind-
said it was good to do the first 3 is because they happen one after the other. So
Yeah.
it's like one long.
Yeah, it did
Like,
feel like we ended on a nice little breaking point at the end of
It was
episode
a nice
3.
little arc.
Yeah.
And I don't mind being confused. I'm okay with that. What I want to know is going in whether I'm supposed to be confused or whether I just didn't like space out and miss something. So as long as it
does
is supposed
start
to be
falling
confusing,
into
I'm okay.
place the more the episodes go.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm willing to do that. And I mean, even like when I was a kid, right? You know, this was back before it was really easy to get entire anime series. So things like Bubblegum Crisis, for example, and Project Echo and things like you'd have to watch it completely out of order. You'd see like maybe the 3rd episode and then the 8th episode, or you know, you'd get the manga and you'd pick it up at like issue 23 and you'd have to work out what was going on. So I'm okay with weird, confusing anime and manga as long as I know that it's confusing by design rather than confusing because, you know, I wasn't paying attention or it was just too dumb to pick it up. So
No, it's basically like a giant puzzle that you have to put together.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for the recommendation, Alice. And we will we'll keep trying to give Punchy a break from My Hero Academia and the high school hijinks, and we'll throw him into some space cowboy hijinks. I enjoyed it. I'm curious to see more. So thank you both for joining me. Punchy and Alice are both artists, so I've got to update the description to send you guys to their Twitter accounts so you can check out some of the art projects. Punchy's been working on kind of like AI art experiments recently, and Alice is taking commissions on Twitter still. Is that right, Alice? You're still taking commissions?
Yeah, commissions are still open.
Awesome.
All you have to do is DM me.
Yeah, she's available for all kinds of stuff. And I used to be available, but my arm's all messed up now. So until I fix it, I'm kind of out. But direct all your stuff to Alice because she's great.
Will do. All right. Thank you both for joining me today. We will be back with more Trigun discussion in the future. Catch you later, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.